All right, the Reds, it is the Bacon Butty. Monday morning, myself and Rob Gutmann getting stuck into the papers. And I think this time, we normally go straight to the back pages or the front pages of the pullouts or whatever, but I think after that weekend, after that win, we've got to talk about the Reds first and foremost. Rob, and you were there, 94th minute, big divvy. What was it like? Did it go off?
Yeah, it did go off. It was the weirdest away end because we had the whole of one side of the ground. So like we were going off in the left corner and in the right corner they were going off as well. We were miles from them. It's not like a normal let-off, but there was millions of us in that ground. It was really special, yeah. It felt like, too much. After the derby, where I was just throwing myself backwards, like crowd surf, and it was all that again. It was beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, it was a fantastic moment. It really was, and loads of stuff about Divvy in the papers, not on the back because we'll come on to that in a minute. But to talk about the Reds first, and there's a lot of discussion about being a super sub and all this kind of stuff. And they say here in the Times that he's on £80,000 a week. Liverpool won about £25 million for a transfer. He's been at the Reds for 7.5 seasons and has made only 166 appearances. And his cameo at Molineux is his 100th as a substitute. There's a little thing there, like a sidebar from Tony Cascarino saying, no one who says they're happy as a sub can be believed. He said, don't believe them. He says, I had a period in my Ireland career that I was only ever played off the bench. I asked Jack Charlton why he was using me that way, and he said, because you're shit when you start and you're fucking brilliant when you come on late. I mean, with Divvy, there was an agreed fee with Wolves at one stage, and then he didn't go.
Yeah.
There was other interest in the summer. I mean, maybe he is happy. Maybe he is, maybe not happy, but at ease with the situation.
Yeah, if you listen to anything that's said about him by his teammates, they always talk as though he's a different kind of guy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's not. Yeah. He's really laid back. I think, I don't want to say he's a very spiritual person or put attributes to him that aren't there. But I think you see a lot of ex-pros who were subs for most of their career. Like David Fairclough is the most famous case in our history, super sub. Quietly he'd whinge to anybody who talked to him about it at that time, and understandably so. But after his career ended, I think he gained more and more affection for how he was remembered. I remember reading an interview with David Hodgson, who wasn't quite super sub, but he was off the bench a lot for Liverpool during the real glorious period for us, didn't get a lot of starts. And he moved on, I think, back northeast to Middlesbrough or what have you. And he said after his career ended, I wish he just hung on there a bit longer. Where else would you want to be but around this great team, this great club, this great squad? And I think maybe Divok's just blessed with a bit more wisdom than most.
Yeah, I mean, he's big into his psychology and stuff like that, speaks a few languages and things like that. So, yeah, you might be right about that. The Premier League, there was 3 teams at different stages, top of the league over the weekends. It ended up with City being top, 35 points, Liverpool second, 34, and Chelsea in third on 33. It really would have been a massively different conversation, wouldn't it, if Liverpool hadn't got that win? Because, I was sitting there almost dreading it, thinking, I know what the headlines are going to be, I know what the analysis is going to be, I know that Klopp's going to get spiky, all of those things. So to have it turn on its head in that moment was brilliant, wasn't it?
It was, and it's sort of difficult to process it because I spent the last 15 minutes of the game thinking, getting myself at peace with the draw. Because at the end of the day, we played okay. I did the post-match show with Neil, and I said, we just kept knocking at that fucking door. You have to say that was a team that was knocking at the door, and that's why the last-minute winner was deserved. But sometimes it doesn't go for you. I was content enough that had it been a draw, we still would have gained on Chelsea. We've still gone within a point of them, wouldn't we? So, okay, City would have elongated on us a little bit. It wouldn't have been a disaster. And when you were in that ground watching Wolves defend, they're very resolute, You think not a lot of teams are going to put goals past these. They hadn't conceded in their previous 3. I mean, albeit they played some crap in there, but you could see why they don't concede goals. Chelsea could look blunt at times. And maybe I'll live to regret this, I wouldn't necessarily fancy them at Molineux any day soon because they don't score goals that easily. City, you'd fancy them to find a way, but even then you wouldn't fancy them to tonk them. So it was a big result, that, and I wouldn't say it's a bonus to win because you do go there expecting to win, but at the end of that week or that 2-week period, that 13 days, we've virtually been unchanged for 13 days. I think it was a big result.
All right, the Reds, thanks very much for getting stuck into that little snippet there of Anfield Wrap content. If you want the rest of that show and much more besides, click the link below, subscribe to the Anfield Wrap Premium, and for that you will get reviews, previews, exclusive interviews, post-match content, the full it. Get involved, follow us, follow them from the heart of Liverpool. Up the Reds.